make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome back into Pregaming here on Sports Money. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Rain, sleet, or snow. Pregaming is good to go. Appreciate everybody coming back in here, rocking with us tonight. Got a little bounce back night in front of us here. Tough Tuesday, some bad breaks, and that's part of the game. So we hit Monday, we struggle Tuesday, and we pop them in the mouth on Wednesday, and it's a difficult little card. Now, they got the NBA, gave us a little break tonight after the NBA Cup championship. Disappointing. Apparently, the Bucks did want to have the championship in their back pockets, and they got it done. And our guy didn't show up either. SGA shut down again. You guys were dialed in with that against the Bucks struggling. And we paid the price for that. But all in all, look, not the best of evenings, but still some great live bet opportunities that pulled me through the finish line. Let's see. Let's go through it right quick. We'll get into this card. We'll make it fast. It's not the biggest slate in the world. And there's already a college football bowl game going on that I am invested in. So let's get back to it. Let's go. Buffalo is a disappointment. They are bad. Now, Buffalo is going to be a problem for me because once you cross over that 10-loss mark, I start to look for opportunities to jump back in. And in theory, technically, yeah, they haven't won in 11 games. They're only 8-0-3 0-8-3 in those games. So overtime losses in there. Maybe we'll let them lose a couple more before we dag them again. And they only scored once, so Tage Thompson was never going to get it done. And the Islanders, man. I went back and I looked at the notes. Something you lose a game, but if you got a trend, you got to look back at it and kind of make some updates. The Islanders were due to lose that game, but we talked about the Islanders on a Tuesday, and it was like something like 5-18 for the Islanders, but they just couldn't score. They couldn't get it in. And that crushed us on the over 5.5. Disappointing spot there, especially because Carolina popped in 2 in that first period. And I thought, okay, maybe we can get some momentum. But where we got momentum is fading those Rangers. Blind fade. Didn't even cap it, just went after it. And then we cashed with this Ottawa Senators play as well. Remember, they said it's a 9-game road trip. They obviously didn't factor in Christmas. And why wouldn't you want to go out there if you do have a lengthy road trip before the holiday and say, let's just finish this strong before we get our break? And that's exactly what they did. There wasn't even a live bet opportunity. Remember, I said there was 2 trends that fell into that criteria last night. It was the Boston Bruins and it was the Ottawa Senators. The Bruins went down. Bang, 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 bang. Hopefully you're holding on to some plus 550 live tickets like I was. And then the Senators went up 3-0. And never 2-0, I guess. It never looked back. There was never a chance to get back in there and get some positive live betting action. How about this? Save your tickets. West Virginia comes back at the end and gets us that cash. Got the West Virginia cash. If you teased it with the over, you got that cash as well. And then college hoops. I mean, look, we lost the game in overtime, and it barely went over. It still only went over by like 2 points with that overtime in there. Just a disappointing kind of day overall, but we will fight again today, about even on the week here. So let's see if we can't turn it up and get running. We've got 3 hockey games in store for the evening. We'll go to Philadelphia, Detroit. We'll get the Florida Panthers, Minnesota. That should be a fun one. That's got playoff potential matchup written in it. And then Vancouver and the Utah Yetis will be battling out there. And again, Vancouver. Thatcher Demko back, team looking good. Hint, hint. What do we got? 3 college basketball games, 4 plays in college hoops. We got Fairfield, Central Connecticut. Yep. Some great trends in that. Yep. Then we're going to go Xavier, UConn, with a big spread out there with UConn And then we've got Toledo and Houston. Actually, I'm sorry, we got 4 games. 4 games in college hoops. I forgot I snuck that last one in there. Toledo, Houston will battle out there. There's 2 plays in that game, and one of them is a plus 270 spot. Then we've got the Gauchos, UC Santa Barbara, playing Loyola Marymount. Spot in that game, and we cashed on a spot in that game last night. So we're going to run it back. There's actually 2 spots that fall under that criteria tonight, and I better make sure I got them tight here. Let me double check. And then we'll finish off with the college football game that starts at, I believe it's 9 p.m. So it's going to be a nice little card tonight. Nice little card. We'll see if we can't get this victory for us and move on to the next day, which is Thursday. Thursday is the bridge day to the weekend. We got the big Thursday night football game. You know, we joint stream with Razor Sharp Picks, and then we will roll into Friday, Saturday. Still figured out which game we're going to stream. I think it's going to be that 4 p.m. window. 4 p.m. we'll have some NFL. No UFC, no problem. No UFC, no problem. We'll still get out there and fire on some NFL and some college football. And bear with me while I make sure I get this tight and right for us to get this cash. Where are you? Where are you? Where did you go? There you are. There you are. There you are. Let me double check. Okay. Hope everyone's feeling good tonight. Fast week here. This week is cruising on by as we get ready for Xmas. And a couple of, we probably won't be having a show on Christmas here, being in the middle of the week, but it's all right. We'll still find a way to leverage that community tab and get everybody paid. You know the deal. We get rolling, we get firing, and we want to give you guys those plays even when we're not live on the air. That's what the community tab is for. Some might say, what's the community tab? I will tell you what the community tab is. It is a place where we provide kind of like a Facebook wall, written content for either we're short time, we don't have a chance to put a video together, or we want to put some stats like we use the consensus report out there. Those are the types of things you can find on the community tab. And you know what? I'll share it with you. How about that? We'll do that real quick here as we get going because it is a short, tidy little slate for us. Let me find it. This one. Right here. There it is. There she be. Let me see. That's a little better. That's a little better. You jump on here, the YouTube community tab. You get into the YouTube homepage at Sports Money. You'll see home. You'll see videos. You'll see shorts. You'll see live, playlist, and then community. Give that thing a click. It'll pop up. You'll see the best bets from the fellas. You'll see things like the polls where we talk about, look at this poll, 77%. We're back, baby. 84 votes. 77% said the Falcons -5.5. Easy work. And here's another one, 149 votes. Minnesota Vikings. I think this thing's now 20. I don't know the number offhand. Let's see if I can't find it offhand. I can't find it. I think it's like 24-9. I think we're like 24-9. More action that gets posted out there from the fellas. Here's the NFL handicapper consensus report. And all this says is that we've got the program that aggregates major multi-handicapper websites, so pay services, and it aggregates the results for us between those websites and shows you where the cash is coming in. How do you utilize it? Well, you look at something like this here. You'll see the Commanders. It had 12-6 was the play for the Washington Commanders. 12 professional handicappers on the Commanders, 6 on the other side. Also 1-0 to the over. So only one brave soldier decided to go in there and take the over. So that's just a little example of what you'll find out there on the community tab. And it's not always right. Look, 20-15 Seahawks over the Packers. Now, here's the thing about the way I would look at that. I might not necessarily just say, well, the Seahawks are the play. There's a lot of action on both sides of that. That's how I would look at that and contemplate that. It's like, hey, there's a lot of things. There's 35. It's the second most on the board. Next to that, Panthers over the Cowboys. And obviously the Panthers took that big L outright. So just a little example of what we've got going on over there at the community tab. So if you haven't checked it out, now's going to be the time. We're going to have a lot of things coming up here, trying to run in between family engagements and friend dinners and all that other stuff that goes into the holidays. New Year's and such that you're going to want to be in the know. You're going to want to make sure you do check that out. And I did see a comment. This is why it's important to have the notifications on and pay attention on X, albeit I didn't put that out there on X for the handicapper consensus. But one of our guys says, YouTube, of course, shows me this on the 17th. So just because you've got the notifications turned on with YouTube does not mean you're going to get that information right away. YouTube has a arbitrary assessment of how they want to pass that information along. So bear that in mind as we get rolling, you guys. And it's going to be a fun night tonight. So we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it brisk. We'll go through the chat. You guys know the deal. I need your help with that thumbs up button. And we'll kindly just take a moment here. If you could close the comments, hit that thumbs up button, and then pop them back open. Even if you're watching this on replay, super helpful. Lets the YouTube community know that you guys are here watching this. It finds people just like us, gamblers. It lets them know we're here doing this thing. And then ideally they'll pop in and they'll share more winning bets as well. And we'll continue to build the community and grow by default our bankrolls in that situation. So do that for me right now, if you would, please. See JP's comment out there. Let's go to the comments, guys. Time to grab that pen and paper. I told you we're going to move fast today. I want to get this thing rolling here. Something to keep your eyes on. Let's see really quick before we jump in and see what's chilling in the community here. Keep an eye on this Western Kentucky drive. Ideally, we'll see a quick score and your strike price. I was looking for the strike price, just like if you're buying and selling stocks, we're buying and selling sports games. We want to look for 51.5. Right before the show popped off, I jumped in again and took the under 51.5. So it's down a little bit to 46.5. James Madison's up in that game 7-0. But if you can get back to that 51.5, that was the spot that I punched in at. And I think there's a lot of value in that spot. And we'll talk about that Cal UNLV game here shortly. You'll also take a note over on the side here. By request, and we warned him yesterday, you mess around, you're getting put over on the shit list. And so the Capitals have firmly positioned themselves right before one Aaron Rodgers, right below one Aaron Rodgers. So can't get on the right side. That would have been a nice little parlay. It wasn't the greatest parlay in the world, but damn, you're winning by 2 goals. And you let the Blackhawks come back and snipe you? And knife my parlay is what they did with that. So a couple updates there floating around the community. And boy, oh boy, some great calls today with some things that are coming. So get ready, get set. Sports money is going to pop off and go big in 2025. And our guy, the curator of our community tab, Joe T, coming in here, and he's giving you his under, or says F your under. Excuse me. How did I screw that up? Northern Illinois State over 141.5. You also want to go Bakersfield and Portland, but he's over 140.5 in that spot. So there you go. Couple of nice, I like those overs, Joe. Jover, you're in that 140 range. That kind of tells me that college basketball bookies are thinking maybe this does have a little meat to it. So let's go. Good luck to you, my friend. Thank you for sharing with us. And shout out to all you guys. Cameron, J. Peasy in the house. Oldie Gonzo's rocking with us tonight. Rob McBand, James Madison under 52.5. There you go. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You got a better number than me. Shout out to Stop Geo Engineering. There's Rob McMahon in the house. Vodka style. I got to the liquor store today. We're freshened up and ready to go. Oldie says, waves are pumping. It's rolling into men's finals at Pipeline. Worth a watch if you want to see legit Watermen set it. Oldie, I appreciate you. I don't know a damn thing about what you just said there. Is that surfing? Some legit Watermen send it. Is that surfing? It's got to be. I appreciate it. I'll check it out. Certainly like to watch a little surfing. Why not? I know we were betting on that this summer, as a matter of fact. We had some live shows late at night betting on surfing. Gonzo likes Dallas money line tonight. He's rolling with the stars. Nasty Nate. Get the like. Your eggnog's going to have a funny color to it, is what he's saying there. Shout out to Julian Cesario. What's up, my friend? It's good to see you again. Hope all is well your way. The Futon Bets in the house. Jaden, anytime touchdown. Philly Flyers money line. Plus 304. Cal UNLV game, Jaden, Okay. Giving you plenty of time to log that action. Jaden, for that UNLV Cal game. Philly Flyers, plus 304. Cameron says Bucks and unders loaded my ammo clip for tonight. Jake Peasy, opportunity to go back to Buffalo. So stop. Get some help. Oh, Jake Peasy, that makes me want to give you a little clip, my friend. That makes me want to give you a little clip. Let me see if I can make this happen real quick. Let's see here. I know the background has changed. Let's see here. Let's see if I can do this in honor of Jay Peasy.
I don't tell you what to do with your money. Don't fucking tell me what to do with mine, okay?
But you're right. You're right. It is an opportunity to go broke for sure. Appreciate all you guys. Let's go. AOD's in the house. Sancho's here. Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for coming in. Big Scott 510 in the house says, what's good, Mike? Let's break the bookies tonight. New Mexico, double dip, first half and full game. Took it last night. Got Memphis first half -2. Beachcov over half a point and sprinkle the goal. It's a Flyers guy right there. If you didn't know, now you know. Maybe one of the brightest firecrackers in all of the NHL today. 20 years old, leading all rookies in scoring and I believe points as well. So he's going into the Mishkov side of the house. My guy Julian likes Memphis -4, Davidson +3, Youngstown +8, college hoops. I kind of like the college hoops card today too. There we go. Western Kentucky touchdown 7-6. They're still hanging on to 49.5. So get over to those books and see what your live numbers look like now. You saw our guy on the 52.5. I like the 51.5 still, even though he got the better number. You may have to see what you can get. If you can get a 51.5, I like it. 49.5, I think this game ends right around that 50 mark. So easy to say now at this point, but James Madison likes to run the ball. Western Kentucky, I believe, likes to throw the ball. And in that fashion, this should separate. There you go, 50.5. 50.5s are good enough right now. Let's see if they get the extra point. 50.5. This is DraftKings number live for you guys right now. And juice to the over. So I'd still go 50.5. I'd still take that 50.5 live, you guys. Shout out to the rest of the gang that's here assembling. We got Jay Main. We got Irish King here. Justin McKelvey giving us the old tagline. Sports money is money. Cameron says Stars versus Leafs not on the agenda list. Not. I'll tell you. It's not. I can tell you that. I can tell you it's not. That's a tricky game, man. That's a tricky game. I'd be inclined just take the Toronto with the points or with the plus money. And I like the under. Dallas unders, Carolina unders, despite the fact that we played the overs yesterday. Those are two arenas that just seem to find maybe the ice is a little slower. That's a thing. Sometimes the ice is a little slower. Subhuman Gaucho, Ricky Levine. Pip slap Minnesota 8-1-1 after a loss and 6-0 after a regulation loss. Florida on the 5th game of the road trip. Appreciate you sharing. There we go. Joe T's giving us the update from the community tab. When you see the primetime games, you see the polls out there. This is the record. 25-11-2. 25-11-2. It's a pretty damn good edge right there. It's over 2-1. What is that, 66% or so? That's where you want to be. So if you're on the fence for a game, swing back into that community tab, take a look and see what that sharp community, the sharpest community on YouTube, has to say about it. 25-11-2 is a hell of a number, Joe. Thank you for tracking that for us. My man. Sancho says, what's the NHL plays? Barry, it's so nice. I like it twice. I love that, Barry. Thank you. Daddy Beats is in the house. I'm here. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. Let's get this cash. Let's get to the work here, huh? Jay Main says, I took Canucks plus 100. It's more for me that I like to read off what you guys have to say here. So I appreciate you putting it out there because, look, I watched this stuff all night. I circle back and see what you guys had to say. And then you got to leverage this stuff live betting. Live betting, blessing and a curse, I guess. If you're on the wrong side, you're on the wrong side. But being able to catch, literally, I was sending around some of the tickets earlier today. Plus 250s, 350s, 4. I got 3 plus 550 tickets in the last 2 days on some hockey games, live bets, literally. And, 3-1 going into the third period was that Boston Bruins game. Plus 650, I believe, was that number. Whacked it. And then, just leveraging the trends. We talked about that the other day. Said, hey, listen, you got to trend to that number. Now you got to risk reward. You got to figure out how you play that thing, You put a full unit on it and look for the home run. If you lose, it's going to hurt. Maybe you play a winning unit. There's a lot of different ways to leverage live betting, but that's absolutely where it's at. And that's what I leverage this, you guys in the community for. Important to see what you guys have because you are some sharp MFers as notified before in 2511 on the community tab in primetime games. And J-May, my 200s right now, Lowell and Mercyhurst. There's my guy Dan checking in from down under. What's up, Dan? Dana Delps here. North End, Mike Boustakis. I'm on the Flyers, plus 100. Daddy Butts, Daddy Beats, I'm sorry. USC first half. Ricky Levine. Vancouver 10-1 its last 12 games on the road. Daddy Beats likes LaSalle first half. Jim in the house. What's up, Jim? Jim Dewinger. Hopefully I said that right, Jim. It's good evening all here for the hockey. I like Canucks Hockey Club over tonight. That's good. Let's get to work, you guys. We got Montclair disciples back in the house as well, ready to hang out with us tonight and get this cash. Daddy Beats likes Bradley first half. I like Bradley full game. And then I literally saw every capper in the world start putting that thing out there about a half an hour ago, and I was like, oh, man. But I can get down with that first half. I think they can start strong. They're home, right? They come out there and fire right off the gate. I like that bet, Daddy Beats. Let's get that cash. Good luck to you, my friend. Chosen one. He likes Georgetown, plus 4.5. And look at this. You boys are coming around on some Flyers action here. Same game parlay, the Flyers game, Mishkov goal, Konechny goal, Flyers money line. Okay. Maybe slap it under in there as well. Beat that thing. 11-20 is pretty damn good anyways, though. J-Mang, Bethune-Cookman plus 13. Dana Delp likes the UConn over 146. Irish King wants to get this hockey bag. Daddy Beats says, hit that like now. He got that too. Great. Good stuff, you guys. Thank you for sharing. We'll keep them coming in as we get rolling here tonight. We'll get some cash. We'll share some plays. And then we'll get up out of here and see if we can't make that money, because we are going to start off looking to make that money in this Flyers game. And two of my favorite spots in hockey. I might have 5. I might have 5 overall. I mean, there's a lot of spots I'll play, but there's 5 that I really look for. And one of them comes down, I'll tell you, the revenge factors and where that sits comes into effect. The special teams factors comes into effect. And then, moms and dads road trips come into effect. Those are big. And then jersey changes. You got to get into the beat reporters for some of those things, because that is where players step up. Think about it. You got your moms or your dads on the road. You want to go out there and lay a dud? No, hell no, you don't want to lay a dud. You play hard. They love playing in the special uniforms. They don't get to wear them that often, so when they get those third jerseys or alternate uniforms, they fire up in those things. Revenge factors, we'll talk about that tonight in one of these games on the slate. And then, if you've got the better special team situation going, you're going to stomp on that other team more than likely here. And that's what we have going on with this Flyers and Red Wings game. Urson, the number 1 goaltender, back and ready to go. He's 6-4-2 in the lineup. And look, 3 goals on 22 shots against the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Minnesota Wild are running pretty hot. So it's not worth nothing that he went out there and got busted up a little bit. They just couldn't find a way to get the puck in the net. And they're going to go back to him for his 4th time in 5 games. They're trying to get him back into – this is a conditioning kind of assignment in the pros, because you're the number 1 guy. Unless you were out for a year with a major surgery, you can't necessarily drop back to the AHL. You can, but most teams don't put him out in the AHL. They'll find lesser opponents, like the Red Wings in this case. They'll run him because, again, we talked about this. teams are off from like the 22nd or 23rd all the way through the 28th or 29th. So they're going to have a week off. Why not run these guys and get them back into that NHL playing shape strategically so they can appoint the second half of the season or the second third of the season and try to make some things happen. And Ursa needs it. Back and forth, up and down. Now Detroit. Potential letdown spot? I don't know. They came off a big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's a huge original six battle out there. They're going to Alex Leon, who's struggling in his own right. He's 4-4 on the season. He's got a 2.74 goals against average. Does rock around a 91.1% save percentage. But two things going on with this guy. One, a little revenge, maybe. He did play for Philly. They flicked his ass out of there because he was no good. The second thing you have here, talk about conditioning assignments. This is going to be his first game in almost a month. He had a lower body injury at a practice. He sat out since then, and now he's coming back. So we'll see if he's got the ability to match Michkov, Owen Tippett, Laughlin, and the boys. I think there's a lot of good scoring threats out there for the Flyers tonight in this game. And look, Flyers lost 5 of their last 6 games. 2-3-1. Not where you want to be. But all the sugarcoating aside, this is one of those spots I talked to you about. Just comes down to simple trends in mathematics here. If we don't overcomplicate this thing, teams that started off the season low scoring early, playing teams that are shit, essentially. Meaning, one team's winning at 55% or higher, the other team's winning at 50% or lower, or in that threshold. And that is what this Flyers and Detroit Red Wings game is. But the big spot about this one, if the team they're playing again, if the team that's playing has shut down the last 2 games power play units, they win 14-5. If your power play units get hot, you get that extra man advantage. We know Detroit's a bunch of cheap sons of bitches. They're going to get their opportunities. And when they do that and they shut down those other teams, penalty kills running high, they're 14-5 in the last 19 games in that situation. The better special penalty kill, the better team overall, low scoring threats, they're not finding the back of the net. That advantage has to come from somewhere. It's going to come from, I believe, the special teams and the penalty killing, shutting down Detroit with Ersson. He's coming back in there. And we've got that exposure with Leon, having his first game back in almost a month. And we're getting a good price on the Philadelphia Flyers. I sent a group message out earlier today. I said, boys, they got a bonus at all the sports books. For every grand you put in, they're giving you a free $1,000. That was around 9 this morning. That recommendation was to take the Flyers. So I do believe in this spot here tonight. I know it's the Flyers. Homer pick. I'd rather be fading the Flyers, but I see the line continuing to move in the Flyers' direction as well as we get closer to puck drop. And I think that's the right spot to kick this thing off. So let's do it. Flyers are 108 now since Daddy beats. Fire. I wouldn't be laying minus 140 with them, but I certainly would take a shot at that. So Stop Geoengineering says Sharks pulled through again last night on that +1.5. Yeah, I knew that. I made a mistake there, and I took the under. There's a nice little Sharks under trend in that spot, and I knew when they went up 2-1, I was like, damn, this is gonna go over. And then I couldn't get the right number on top of that, so it stung. It hurt a little bit, but they couldn't win the game. They couldn't win the game, and that was the most important thing. Should have been, especially when they went down. Dana Delp got to 51.5. Justin likes Minnesota Wild over 2.5 team total. Interesting spot there. Interesting spot. Michael Johnson. It's a mom's trip for the W Jets tonight. See? That's us working together as a team, Michael Johnson. That's us working together as a team. I'll tell you what you almost got to do. I don't want to go out of sequence here, but the Jets in the over 5.5 is +160. Just going to put that out there. Now that we know that there's a mom's trip for the Jets tonight, Those are the things you got to look out for. Unless you're a Blackhawks player, you enjoy the mom strips. Well, I should say the Blackhawks players probably did enjoy the mom strips. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go climb into that little rabbit hole and enjoy yourself for the evening. And we'll go to game number 2. This is one of my favorite spots we talk about on the card. What we've got coming in here with the Florida Panthers. And look, what are they doing? They're not pulling any punches. They're going to Bobrovsky. Confirmed. 14-6-1 with a .297 goals against average. And what are they getting on the other side? It's not Gustafsson. Flower. Marc-Andre Fleury, who, for what it's worth, is playing. The team's getting wins in front of him. Sticks 1-1. Now, the challenge with Gustafsson is he's going to be hurt. He's out. He's got that lower body factor again. And I don't know if we'll see him before that Christmas deadline, a week to go. Fleury's going to start for the second time in 3 games. He's 40 years old. So this is an older guy that's aging out there, but again, playing phenomenal. Look, he saved 21 of 22 shots on the Flyers that game that we talked about. 4-1. This is the Flyers. That was the first game that Ersson was back. So for what it said, there's a reason that they're coming in as a home dog. We also know that Florida had that big bounce back spot. Back-to-back shutouts. They got shut out. And then they come out there and they fire and they win that game for us. No sweat. That was one of those other plus. I think that was a plus 650 ticket I got because they were down on Edmonton and then they didn't quit. And I think that's a pivotal point for this Florida team that they didn't quit and give up in that game. And they're starting to feel maybe a little bit of momentum. Maybe they're starting to feel a little bit of a groove again for the team that they are. And they're going back to the number 1. So why the hell not? Fifth start in 6 games for Bobrovsky, and he's allowed 5 goals on 30 shots in that last game. Wasn't pretty, but it could be that potential bounce back situation that we love to talk about. And the situation here for me in this one, when I mentioned it's one of my favorites, is that revenge spot. You lost to the team. You're coming back out there at them, and as long as it's lined less than a minus 200, it's a 2-1 advantage. Almost 2-1. About 900 games to 490 games is what the total numbers look like, and a huge sample size for that road favorite. Now, we did just get done dirty. There was a couple other parameters for the Sabres one yesterday, but we did just get done dirty with the Sabres being in that bounce back spot. But let me ask you this. Do you think that the Buffalo Sabres, who have lost 11 in a row, compare to the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers? It's rhetorical. The answer is no, of course not. And, we've got a home stand now, the 4th straight home game. The Wild are only 1-2 in that stretch, having played the Philadelphia Flyers to catch that 4-1 win. So I do think we see that the pucks are fine in the back of the net. It was only a matter of time. You take back-to-back shutouts, you're going to score. And they scored indeed at 6-5 against that last team out there. Game number 2 for me might have a little bit of juice to swallow. But look what we saw. They don't quit. They're fighting right now. And it's minus 140. That's about the highest you'll see on this show. I'm not big on the other side. Now, why not the minus 1s? Because I just want the win in these revenge spots. The revenge spot's probably the most believed in spot that I have out there, just because historically it shows it wins year in and year out. And when they mark them as a road favorite, playing against a team that's at home, especially a team that's been on a home stand, there's a reason behind it. And I think we can cash and make this cash with this Florida Panthers team. So give me Tricia M's Ice Cats. Let's go. Robert McCormick. Did you see the Happy Trees? Did you see the Owen Wilson Bob Ross remake? It's horrible. It's a horrible remake. Well, I don't want to say it's a remake, but it's Owen Wilson. I like Owen Wilson. It's a good one to check out. The Russian Bob Ross. SpongeBob. Jim says that was a nice Panthers over on Monday. Yeah, 6-5 is no sweat. Cameron likes the under, though, in the Wild matchup here. Thinking there is going to be a little bit of a goaltending battle. I can see that. Keith, each every strides in the house. What's up, Keith? I hope you're doing well, my friend. You'll be back, I know, tomorrow rocking with us. Thursday Night Football. We got the Canucks and the Yeti. I call him the Yeti. I don't care about that. I'm going to probably get that name anyways. It's a strange line. start off by saying that, the Canucks, the club, the Utah Hockey Club, I'll say that the Sharp report came through and they were banging away on this under. They're banging away. And that got me thinking a little bit about what could be making that happen. Well, we talked about this. Utah kind of came out hot. But where they're not is at home. We'll talk about that in a second. Furthermore, the Vancouver Canucks bring out Thatcher Demko. He's back. Man, did he look good that Avalanche game. We were all over that under. We were all over it. It was 30 saves on 31 shots, 3-1 victory. And they're bringing him back 4-time in 5 games. He's feeling good. This is another spot, just like Ersson. I think they're going to burn the tread on this guy's tires right through Christmas to get him back into game-playing shape and get ready to attack after that 7-day battle. There's a reason we talk about November 27th as kind of being that first annotation in the season where you can start to really see who these teams are. Then you got to mark that next month of things being through Christmas because then they get that break and they start to figure out the next spot obviously will be from Christmas through around the All-Star break. At that point, teams will be identifying if they're buying and selling. And then we'll be from the All-Star break, they're going to have the Four Nations tournament in there, which will be fun. But then that'll be the kind of final point of the season where you start to see, things get real. That's where overtimes are going to become real. You're going to see a lot more overtimes when you get past that All-Star break in the NHL, just as a simple factor of how things roll out. You've been randomly selected for an important scientific study. That sounds like spam. So I think we got, why is it important when I talk about these guys and when they're coming back, like when we talked to you earlier in that previous game? Look how Demko started when he came back. He was 0-1-1, 9 goals on 53 shots, but then he comes back against an Avalanche team that fires and makes a tremendous amount of saves. So it does take some time for these guys to get their conditioning in place. And not going to be easy against the Yeti. I don't care. If they're 4-0-1 in their last 5 games, I don't care. To me, it just doesn't matter to me. I don't believe in the firepower. They're going to Vejmelka on the Yeti side of things. He's 6-7-2. It's not like they're finding abundance of wins behind him. He does have a 2.4 goals against average. 3 goals on 22 shots in his last game. That was against the Sharks on top of it. So, they won 4-3, but a little suspect to me. You look back at that performance and you're thinking, this is the Sharks. We saw the Sharks fire off 3 goals yesterday as well against the Winnipeg Jets, but not buyers. Not buying into this thing. It has a lot to do with the quality of shooting. It has a lot to do with the makeup and chemistry of the team. And, the other fact that I was looking at with this thing here, simply put, I don't know how you're going to match the firepower. When I talk about being good at home, well, the Yeti are 4-8 at home. You know who's fucking phenomenal on the road? Scares the shit out of even the fucking peanut vendor? The Zamboni driver wants to call in sick. That's how scared he is. When the Vancouver Canucks come into town, they're 10-2 on the road this year. 10-2-1. The Vancouver Canucks on the road. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I do think there's a lot of validity in why the Sharps are hammering this under. You've got Thatcher Demko in net. He should be able to go out there and play lockdown goaltending. What do we see from Vejmelka? Well, with his goals against average sitting there at sub 2.5, that makes sense. Utah only scores 2.75 goals at home. And ultimately, the Vancouver Canucks are over 3.2 goals a game. Can they keep up? And then you add in Thatcher Demko. I don't think so. I think it's a bad recipe for this Utah Yeti club. And I think we get a good plus money price tag on it. So we'll close off the NHL card. We'll take the Canucks. The Canucks, the Knuckleheads. And there's 107s, 105s, 100s, and now minus 102s. So and this is a later game, so I kind of expected that movement. It's a 10 p.m. start. We got almost 3 hours, 3 hours and 20 minutes till this game starts, and we're starting to see the cash now coming in on Vancouver. Once they made that Demko announcement, I think that kind of tilted the scales in that direction. So let's go. Shout out to Damon Waring in the house. What's up, Kelly V? I hope you're doing well, Kelly V. Ramon says Bill Alexander's better than Bob Ross. Oh man, you got to see that. All right, you guys got to put it on the watch list. I know it's not going to be a good one, and if you don't know who the hell Bob Ross is, then you maybe you skip it altogether. But what was it, PBS back in the day when there was like 4 TV channels and PBS was one of them, and the guy was painting all the time. Painting trees. He was like a full-fledged stoner burnout painting fucking trees, and Owen Wilson goes through and starts, he just paints the same tree. You got to see it. If you like Owen Wilson, it's a good one to see. Ricky Levine says, well, I think that's why they're, think about it. Barkov's questionable and Bennett's out, and they're still a favorite. That's a concern. Definitely a concern. Stono signed up for a full 60 minutes versus UMass. Lol. Damon says Bob Ross is a legend. Dude, Owen Wilson's got the van. You got to see that one. If you know who Bob Ross is, you got to look for it. I forgot what it's called. I wouldn't be able. I don't know. I could point it out to a list if you gave me 4, but anyhow. Let's move into college hoops. We got some college action here. Want to get involved with these basketball games, and we're going to pop off talking about this Fairfield Central Connecticut battle. We're going to get, now that we start getting closer to some divisional time, we'll start looking at some of these smaller schools where I think there's an edge on one side versus the other, or sometimes it's a side and a total. And what we have right now is a huge buy on Fairfield. A huge buy being relative. There's 2,200 tickets in the sample. But it went from +1.5 to some +2s. And we got 89% of the bets and 85% of the cash on Fairfield. The total has 85% of the bets and 85% of the cash. It opened at 138.5. It has not moved. With all that steam coming in on the over. Fairfield coming off of back-to-back overs. A big loss against Mount St. Mary's. 101-94. I mean, that was an NBA type of score. I think the NBA Bucks game had less points in it last night. But Central Connecticut, look, they tend to run as an under team. They're a road warring spot right now as well. This is going to be their 4th straight road game. All the frills aside for me when I looked at this game, the big thing for me was kind of this intersecting opportunity. Central Connecticut in the favorite role. And they're hanging on. That's why it's important to notate all that money popping in. Mine's not really moving, but they are a favorite. If they're less than 13.5 point favorite and they got 7 or more threes their previous game, they're 8-0 to the under. What does that tell us? Well, the books didn't necessarily buy into their last game, and they kind of cheated the total by getting 7 or more threes. 77-69, they lost to Rhode Island, the biggest little state in the union, for an 8-0 spot out there. And then we've got a flip side of things here. You rested team off a dog loss, but you didn't get bludgeoned. You didn't lose by more than 25 points. Okay? 21-1 to the under if the total's less than 140. 21-1 into the under. 21-1. Didn't get bludgeoned. You got rest. You're coming off a dog loss, and the total's less than 140. Significance behind that to me says, well, that rest has you shore up your defense. They haven't played in 10 days, Fairfield. Now you're going to take them at home? At dogs? Yeah. And then if you look at the numbers on the screen, you'll see that the first set of numbers represents their record. The second set of numbers represents their home or away trends. So Central Connecticut's a 500 team on the road, and Fairfield's a 3-1 squad at home. With rest, showing a defensive trend that says that they come out there and shut them down. Yeah, barring any overtime, this should be an easy cash. So we're going to take that under. And Dale Fixes just watching Bob Ross a few nights ago. It's amazing. And shout out to Old E. He coming through gifting 5 sports money memberships. You guys appreciate my man, Old E. He's an OG up in this chat. And he's continuing to help us selfishly, not selfishly, but selfishly build this community with 5 gifted sports money memberships. How about this? If you got a membership, why don't you gift one? Let's pay it forward. Let's start this train and get this thing rolling, man. We got to keep building this thing. We got all kinds of members-only things coming up here in the future. And our guy, Old E, an OG in this MFer, trying to make it happen for us. Appreciate you, Old E. You're a real one, dude. Thank you so much. C. James. He's out here doing God's work. He's gifted memberships. It's Christmas miracle, says LFG, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Old. He's getting us in the right direction. And look who comes in. It's our guy, True Teller. What's up, True Teller? It's good to see you, my guy. I appreciate you. And I appreciate my guy, Old E, gifted 5 sports money memberships. So we're going to rock that under. We're going to keep it moving. This is a big spread. Big old spread in this one. What's going on here? Let me get my... Okay. Now, I'm sorry. I screwed up when I said that last game. In this case here, these are conference records. So Xavier's 8-3. They're 0-0 in the conference. UConn, 8-3, 0-0 in the conference. Let's talk about reading the line. That right there shows there's no edge. Just regardless of, it's just team A versus team B, and here's their records. Now look at the total, or look at this. Look at the line. It's 13.5, 13 and a half, and 14s. Shop around. Right up the gate. Doesn't that seem like what the, who knows what? They're going to beat the snot out of Xavier? Then digging deeper. Let's go another layer deeper. You got 80% of the bets and 67% of the cash coming in on Xavier. The lines moved from 12.5 to as high as 14s. Reverse line movement. And keep in mind, when we talk about percentage of bets, generally the public, it's the $5 tickets, it's the parlay tickets, it's the teaser tickets, it's the prop bet tickets, it's all this, everything that's being written. Then we look at the cash, the percentage of money, typically going to be the sharper bettors, the bigger bettors anyways. Not necessarily sharper, especially at Super Bowl. That's an important distinction. But where do we have a little bit of a differential? Leaning towards UConn. So even though all that money's coming in on Xavier, this line is still moving towards UConn. The total's dropping. It got 90% of the bets and 89% of the cash on the over. The total's dropping by 3. And so that's kind of how you start, right? That's how you circle. You circle that, at least how I start. I circle that down. Shout out to Grandma Horse Racing. It's good to see you in here as well, Grandma. Appreciate you. There's Trisha M. Trisha M's Ice Cats are in play for us tonight. And based on that, now we dig in deeper and we start to look for what's going on. Can we make sense of this thing? Well, yeah. Xavier's getting beat up. Xavier's got some injuries. They are not a full-strength squad, which is super important when you're going to go out there and battle the 2-time defending national champions. And them national champions had the skyfall, right? Everyone was talking about how bad things were going. They're struggling. They're not figuring out. They're just not finding a way to close. Well, pump your brakes. All those games that UConn lost were in the Maui Invitational. Now, I don't know what happened. Maybe they got to Maui and they just enjoyed the sun a little too much. Maybe they got too much sunburn. That happens, especially your first time in Hawaii. But once they came back, they have kicked the snot out of everybody. And they're playing phenomenal. Overall, they are the best 2-point shooting team in the country. Top 5 ranked offensive efficiency and assist rate. So they're having their way with teams out there is exactly what that tells you. On the flip side, there is a significant rebounding disadvantage in the favor of Xavier. So you got a low rebounding team in Xavier who is sitting at 191 in rebounds per game in the nation. And you got a team that shoots a ton of 2s, and they do it better than anybody in the nation. Now we start to see why this UConn team's the giant favorite that they are. Xavier is a great 3-point shooting team. 21st in the nation. They rank 39.4%. But it cancels it out because their defense is so fucking awful at blocking the 3. They're 295th in the nation. In scale, there's 360 teams or something like that. So to be 295th, you might as well be in the bottom. And you're playing the defending national champions. And you're injured. And we got intersecting zeros on top of all of this. Xavier. Dog roll. Less than 5 days rest on the opponent. They're 0-8. They're getting busted as a dog when they're playing an opponent that's not sitting there off an extended period of rest, which is important when you start talking about those 2-point effective metrics, the 3-point defenses out there, the overall defensive ability. Not only are they losing, they're losing against the spread by 14 points. So I'm with you guys where I'm like, hey, I see this 13.5. This is free money for Xavier. Well, if you guys need the cherry on the top, UConn is 18-0 against the spread after they had less than 24 assists and committed less than 13.5 turnovers in the game. So they played an efficient game. They made their shots, less than 24 assists, because they're the best 2-point shooting team in the country. When they find their spot, they get open, they drag that clock down. Keep that in mind with the reverse line movement on the total coming down. And not only are they winning, they're covering the spread by 24 points a game in those spots out there. I'm sorry if you guys are on the Xavier side of things. Don't be afraid to jump in. The water's warm. And it's not because someone just peed in the pool. All those reasons that we just painted out there give you the reason why UConn's going to come out here and smash this team. I think to the under. I do. I think let me just double check something here. I thought the under... No, it's not part of the aforementioned sharp report, but interesting that there is that reverse line movement. So I'm backing UConn. I'm taking the full game, though. And here's the situation why you want the full game and not the first half with a big number like that. Because I want the better team to get the most amount of time to go out there and kick them in the face. I don't want to just shorten it down. What if Xavier does come out with these backups and their inability for rebounding and defense? I want to see those hands on the hips in the second half and feel good about the fact that they're up 20 points and I got my minus 13 sitting there dangling like a little piece of mistletoe. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down. Nasty Nate says JMU sucks. I haven't looked. Western, hey, look, 51.5 is our number. 51.5 is our number. Might have to talk about how to live bet that thing here with this second half coming up shortly. All right, you guys, let's go. We got to keep it moving. Brisk pace indeed. Let's move on to this Toledo and Houston game. This is the double dipper. Double dipper. And I don't know what. I guess the best way to start off with this one is Houston's a fucking world beater at home, especially at home. Now we can look at the numbers. We'll start off with the cash flow. Let me pull them up here. We'll get to this Houston spot. So I'm tipping my hand, but there's two plays, and you got to hear this second one out as well. Where have we been making some good cash with Houston? In the first halves. Houston stymies teams, especially at home. They might have, this might be a controversial put my neck on the line statement, but they might have one of the best home court advantages. And we talked about that just 2 weeks ago. You got reverse line movement. 93% of the bets and 90% of the cash coming in on Toledo. The line opened up at an overwhelming 27.5. It's now 29.5, even though all that money's coming in. So what are they telling you? Toledo is standing on the tracks, and that Houston train is coming through. Then we look at the total. It's not doing much. It's oscillating a little bit. 84% of the bets and 84% of the cash are on the over in this spot here. And I'm just trying to pull this up. Hang on one second for me. Fuck, did it go? Where did it go? Ranked home teams in a bounce back spot. Why the bounce back spot? Well, it's a bounce back when they didn't cover. That is Houston. They were laying a lot of points against Troy, which is even more compounding for Toledo because you just laid 27.5. You only won by 20. Now you're going 29.5, even though all that money's coming in on Toledo. Ranked home teams after not covering are a whopping 555 and 400 in those spots. Top 15 teams at home. As if Houston didn't have enough of an advantage at home. Top 15 home teams, 190 to 135. Ranked teams with spreads greater than 28 are 17-5. 17-5. Now, I, for one, am in the aforementioned bucket of thinking I need a lot of points to lay. But here's what I know we can capitalize on. We just got off on this one here. Was it last week? I can't remember which game it was. Doesn't matter which game it was. Bottom line is this. Toledo, not scoring. You know, they just played Youngstown State. They put up an 87 spot. They still lost a game. But they put up 52 against Oakland. They put up 45 against UC San Diego. Shout out to UC San Diego. I know Ramon had talked about that one the other day on the Morning Steam. And I think they got the outright win, if I'm not mistaken, Ramon. I heard you. I saw it. Great dub. But now you got a big step up in class for a MAC school who hasn't played anybody. Youngstown State, no disrespect to that aforementioned UC San Diego. Jacksonville State, Stetson, Oakland. Like, who are you playing? On the flip side, Houston's playing competition. They got Alabama, Notre Dame, San Diego State, Butler, I don't know. But then Troy, I don't know. Here's that situation that we look for. Didn't quite play the game they wanted, but boy, they played a stymie defense. 42 points. Oh, by the way, it was at home. Let's bank on Toledo not getting points in the first half. I didn't want to take just the minus 17.5. I know you could shop around. You can find, let me see what you can find here right now. I mean, it's climbing. 18s, 18.5s on top of that as well. Here's where I know I cashed the other day with this shutting Houston, the team that Houston at home, who they're playing first half under. And it was a low number. Not scared. On top of that, though, we cashed on this spot as well, if you'll remember. That Houston first half and the first half under. And it's plus 270. We're going to run back the same formula. They're at home. They're ranked. It's a weird spot coming off a non-cover where we saw, what was it, 17-5? And this is where we get that opportunity. Let's keep these guys under that 25.5. Houston goes out there, does their job, and we just turn, plus 270 on a big flyer instead of just going after the Houston minus 17.5. So it's a little risk reward. But this is where we build some bankrolls. Coin leans to the under. He likes. Mikey, thanks. Rick Jakes was surprised how well UConn played last game. Yeah, I mean, look. They're home. Broncos, Chargers are trapped. Play of the year. Thanks, Grandma. Hey, I prepared, I want to come in and give you guys some good numbers. I get pissed when I screw up and I don't have the right numbers in place. Then I got to put all this graphic shit together on top of it. It's like, man, it'd be so much easier if I used to have somebody to do that. All right, let's go back to this Loyola Marymount UC Santa Barbara game. This is the one that I teased for you guys when the show first started. We cashed on this trend yesterday, and we're going to roll back to it. Let me make sure I say we. I know I cashed on it. Let me make sure this is one of those ones I gave up. I play a lot of games. I'm a volume guy as much as the next. But I try to select the best few. Can't just come out here. I don't know. Some people want a show where you're just firing off 40, 50 games and there's no pay. I heard another show. I can't believe people listen to this shit. Like, oh, yeah, here's my best bet for the show. Oh, I'm not playing it, though. What? It's your best bet for the show, but you're not playing it? What did I just listen to? UC Santa Barbara, Loyola, Marymount. That's why I don't listen to a lot of shows, because then I'm so preconditioned at this point to think just fade. Anytime I hear anybody say anything, I think fade when I listen to some of these shows. So I just don't do it, except for Morning Steam with Ramon Scott. That one I do. He knows I do. I was talking to him about it yesterday. He was out doing the old yard work. Morning steaming. Steam alert. I still don't know what the system plays is, though. I want to know what the system plays is. Does it separate? I want to get together with my guy Ramon Scott and figure this thing out. So, anyways, let's look at this game here. 67% of the bets, only 34% of the cash on UC Santa Barbara. Red flag. That's what we talk about. Bets coming in, but bigger money going the other direction. And who wins the bet or who wins the side? Well, the books are more concerned about that bigger money. It has shifted. It has swayed from -1.5 up to -3s, now 3.5. 79% of the bets and 78% of the cash are on the over. That's moving on up. That's on the climb. There's a couple spots to talk about with this one here. I mean, the biggest thing for me, I spare you guys all, home favorites against non-conference teams tend to run strong at a 65-40 mark, but the spot that we cashed yesterday, hot teams on a home, I think it was this one. Let me double check. Oh, it was Duke. I'm not sure I gave you guys Duke. That might be my bad. Home teams, homestand versus shit cover shooting teams. That is very much the situation that we're faced with here when it comes to UC Santa Barbara. We got this Loyola Marymount team coming in. And you look at this thing on the surface, 7-3, another one of those tricky little spots, 7-3 for Santa Barbara, 5-4 for Loyola. Loyola's on this little home run right now. They're comfortable. They're in their own facility. They're not traveling. They just played Nevada. They beat them 68-64 as a 7.5-point home dog. They played Prairie View. The problem that UC Santa Barbara's got in this spot here, a little bit of the reverse logic, but they just played Nevada and they busted them up. Then they get their little tune-up game. That was the letdown spot. You just took down Nevada. You play a scumbag team like Prairie View. No disrespect, Prairie View. And you barely win 76-75. You hang on laying 17.5 points. Now they're in the middle of that homestand. Flip side of things, I think the only team of merit, and I use this loosely, that Santa Barbara's played and beaten recently is Green Bay. If you pay attention to the scorecards, Green Bay just lost to a Division II team today. In fact, Doug Gottlieb had said, Nobody University, I think is what he called them before the game. And then Nobody University came out there and beat them outright by 2 points. So take that, Green Bay. And now Santa Barbara's going to have to take now what is obviously a step up in competition to go play this Loyola Marymount team. Even though the records don't necessarily show it, you got to kind of pick it back a little bit. And then we leverage this trend on top of it there and we say, okay, now we're getting a clear picture. There's a steam report or a sharp alert that came in, which makes sense. Because when you look at how these numbers kind of grind out, yeah, you see 67% of the bets on UCSB, but 66% of the cash on Loyola. With those trends in our back pocket, take it, run with it. I got a 2.5. Let me see what you can get out there. Obviously, do your own shopping. There's still a 2.5 out there. There's 3s. And BetMGM's already hanging at 3.5. So keep that in mind. There's 2.5 left that I see. Just a quick glance. Then I see a bunch of 3s, and BetMGM's already moved to 3.5 for a 10 p.m. game. So keep that in mind as we go to lock that one down. And then let's go to this last game. Last college football bowl opportunity for us to talk about here. The Art of Sport Bowl. Important note. Started off my bowl season 2-0. I'm going to be that guy for a second. We got a big casher on Saturday. We got a big casher yesterday with that whoever it was. Escapes me at the second here as I'm talking out loud. And then we got this UNLV team. Remember, UNLV, we've profiled this team a couple of times. We talked about them specifically versus Boise State. It seems to be their kryptonite. And what did UNLV do in that Boise State conference championship? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They rolled the dud. It was cold, okay. It was elevation, okay. It was a big spot for a bounce-back rebound, and they got their bottom spanked like naughty little children. 75% of the bets and 76% of the cash are on UNLV. This line has dropped. 51.5 is now 45.5, probably a function of some of the transfer portal. 44% of the bets and 65% of the cash on the under. Here's a little conundrum. When you look at this game, what do we know about these things here? Well, first and foremost, we know that UNLV the coaching changes. We've talked about that before. How did the coaching changes impact? Remember last night? We kind of shaded the coaching changes last night because they weren't true changes. And that's a little bit of the situation here. The interim coach that was brought in to coach for UNLV Well, he's their wide receiver coach, right? So, in all fairness, UNLV ranks 14th in scoring and the 5th best rushing game in the league. Now, granted, you are who you play against, and it makes a lot of sense. But Cal, here's the problem for Cal. Quarterback issues. Fernando Mendoza's entered the transfer portal. Chandler Rogers, doubtful. They're going to have to go to C.J. Harris, who's the transfer in from Ohio, or a true freshman. Stop the cap right there. You got a team that played for the conference championship against a team that, and let me add one piece to it. They run the ball exceptional. Tick, 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 as our guy Razor Sharp Pick says. And then on the flip side of things, you got a Cal team that's bludgeoned. On top of the quarterback issues, their star wide receiver and a whole bunch of linemen out. Left tackle out. They're ranked 69th in yards on offense. And they got all new pieces to work with out there. I think, to me, and I texted this to my brother earlier today, I said, I don't know, however you can play Cal unders is how I would play them. I can't imagine any way Cal comes out here and shocks the nation. Teams that pass more than run. That's Cal. And think about this. They pass more than run, and all their quarterbacks are out, their wide receivers are out, and their offensive line is out. Well, those teams, assuming all things were equal, are 77 and 119 against the spread. And he just took all those weapons away. Then as far as the under is concerned, when you have a team that's better than the opponent, how do you define better? Well, they've got 2 or more wins than the opponent. The under is 56 and 92 in favor of the under. Unders for top 25 teams versus non-ranked opponents are 52 and 70 in favor of the under. And a winning team versus a non-winning team. This is that 60% or better winning team, which is UNLV. And non-winning teams are 50% or lower, which is Cal, 6 and 6 on the season. 33 and 45 to the under in those spots. So the way I attacked this one was pretty straightforward here. I went to the teaser. I want to see UNLV. I don't need to get in the battle. The hook scares me a little bit. I don't want to say it scares me, concerns me. If I get that hook out of there, and I think this game goes under. I don't know how the hell is Cal going to do it. What's Cal going to do? Is Cal going to come out here and look like a Division I national champion? That's the only way they could play and win this game is if they play like they're national champions, in my opinion. UNLV probably goes out there and wins this thing by 14, 16 points. I got it indexed at 14.8 as it is. Could they get a little sleepy from that last situation and not finishing strong against Boise State? Yeah, I mean, that could be the case, but it's not like, the big thing for me when I looked at like quarterback or coaching movement, it's not like they fired the coach because he's a piece of shit. Barry Odom's going over to Purdue. So step up and opportunity for this guy. Maybe it's a baby step. Maybe it's the ladder game on his way to a real big school. But that being said, it's not like these players are sitting around disgruntled saying, the coach was the problem. But no, I think with the new regime coming in, these boys are going to have to say, look, let's build from here. Let's do something new. Let's go out there and let's hammer these guys here. And I like them first half. I like them full game. But I took the teaser ultimately with the under. I don't suspect, especially a team that runs like UNLV does, that they're going to be able to go out there and put up 100 points. It's not going to be like we saw yesterday with that game that we saw yesterday with Memphis. And I don't care. We cashed on it. Why can't I think of who it was? Doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to tease it. I'm going to go UNLV plus 2.5 in the under 52. And obviously I spelled teaser wrong. JPC says Flyers, let's go. Cameron Sinette says Flyers, let's go. Big Scott says connect me with the goal. Let's go. Let's go, you guys. 1-0. All right. That's how we want to start off. That's how we want to start this day off here. Let's see what else you guys have to say. Free money alert. Drake going to smash Green Bay on Saturday. Yeah. Probably. Did you see Doug Gottlieb didn't even go to do? He's been getting so razzed in the social media space. He didn't even go out there and do a show today. I think you guys might be right. We have to add a new list of the auto fades. See what that looks like here. I don't know how I would get that on the screen. I have to figure out how to put that on the screen. That's going to do it, you guys. Thank you guys all for coming in to watch Pregaming here at Sports Money. Hopefully we make this cash tonight and come back tomorrow celebrating, hooting, hollering, high-fiving, and all the rest. And let's have a big night. Good luck to you guys. Good luck to your bets. And make sure you do tune back in tomorrow morning. The morning steam with Ramon Scott at 9 a.m. There will be no pregame, there will be no first strike because there's no UFC. So we will forego that this week. But look for some content. I'm going to put some content together for college football games that'll be popping off early on Saturday, and then expect to get live with us Saturday afternoon for the NFL and college football bowls. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. Shout out to all you guys, North Thunder, Kelly B, Cameron Sinnett, Rick J, Jay Main in the house, Robert McCormick, Daddy Beats, rocking through with the whole day for us here. T Moss, appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for commenting in the chat. Barry and Barry, number 2, Coin, Krista M, Grandma Horse Racing, my guy Truth Teller. And of course, Grandma Horse Racing setting us off with a positive farewell. Shout out to Grandma with the gifted sports money membership. And of course, our guy, Oldie, gifting 5 sports money memberships. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you. You two are absolute staples for what we're doing here. And we appreciate you coming in positive, sharing good vibes, kind words, and winning plays is what it's all about. So appreciate everybody. Have a great night. Yeah, cheers. Happy holidays. Shout out. Good luck. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, guys.